Hello everybody and welcome back to the Lazer Grand Arena for our final match of week 1 between Enri and Amasetic. And on paper, Enri has been performing phenomenally across a number of tournaments over the past year, but Seed 8 versus Seed 9 could be quite a close one. We've got 5 maps to be played. And of course, at the end of those maps, the player with the higher cumulative score will be the winner. And looks like we are into it already. And it looks like players are already into it. And we've got Hard Rock 1 being played. Hopefully we can get the scores on screen, as it seems like the players have already played through most of the pools. I was under the impression this match was scheduled to start 5 minutes ago, but here we are. Of course, now in Lazer, it is just going to be me, iFlame, for this one. And maybe a very short stream, but Amasetic off to a very solid start, as with this pick should be relatively easy, at least for the first 30 seconds of the map. But into the first Ki, things are really going to start to pick up. Into the build-up now. This is where we could start to see misses after this next slower slider section. Just going to be Amasetic winning on accuracy right now. 2% on a map like this could actually make a noticeable difference in terms of score. And Enri has found a big drop. Amasetic still holding on to that full combo. Into the Ki now. Amasetic is going to be trading back, but holding on to that slight accuracy lead. Enri does recover, brings the score ever closer. Both players finding misses now. Multiple drops for each one. And Amasetic in the lead by less than 1,000 points right now. It is anyone's game. And it is a big accuracy drop from Amasetic down to 96. Does give the lead over to Enri. This is another section that's very, very easy to find multiple misses on, especially with these back and forths. But both players hitting them with not too much trouble. What we are seeing is Amasetic continuing to fall farther behind in terms of accuracy. And a couple misses now as well. Enri now has a good chance to really take over this map here. Pushing that score lead to about 30,000. Finds a miss of his own. And Amasetic is right back in this. We've still got half the map to be played. It's anyone's game. The ending of this map is very tricky as well. There are a lot more points to break, a lot more points to drop accuracy, as both players are going to be trading misses once again. And we are pretty much dead even going into this first year wiggle section. We'll see if either player can start to build up some kind of combo and give themselves a real advantage that we just haven't seen so far, as both players now back up to 200 combo, both players recovering the accuracy as well. And it could very well come down to the next few drops, and it could at this point come down to which player can hold on to their accuracy better through this last Ki section. $30,000 points at the break. Amasetic plenty of time to make that up with a stronger finish to this map and to the match. This is, once again, I believe, the last map here. And we don't know quite yet the cumulative scores, so we'll be finding that out shortly after this one. But here we go. Both the players need to hold these sections. We have a bit of an easier, more straightforward burst section that is going to allow both players to build up some combo before this last pretty tricky section coming up now. Here we go into the slider patterns. Both players up to massive combos. If either one breaks and the second player can hold, this one could be decisive into the ending, but they have kept it incredibly close for the time being. It's going to be Amasetic finding the first drop. Enri holds on this time around up to 700 combo. That score lead is going to absolutely skyrocket as long as Enri can hold on, already up to 60,000 points. And with the map coming to an end, it looks like it's going to be nearly a 100,000 point victory in Enri's favor. Does find the miss though. So it's going to be stuck right around 70,000. Amasetic has traded it back. Accuracy is going to be even on both sides. So now the question is 70,000 points enough for Enri to take this one? Find out shortly as we load back into the lobby. And now just waiting for that confirmation. Oh. Okay, we're back into no mod 2 then. And okay, I guess that was the first map. And it's just a graphical issue. I'm not sure what they were talking about before with the ref, but in that case, it will just be Enri with a small lead early on. And now it's going to be Amasetic off to a very small lead in this no mod 2 here. Amasetic behind by about 300 combo after that earlier drop, but with the accuracy still up at 94 is going to hold on to the score lead, and Enri now finding multiple misses on these stream sections, really not having a good time here, down to 91% accuracy. And keep in mind it is cumulative score, so winning a pick doesn't necessarily matter, especially if it's relatively close, as we saw on the last map. If Amasetic can win this one by more than 70,000 points, then we'll have a pretty decisive advantage going into the next maps. And so right now, in a very good spot to do so, up to 900 combo with half the map to go, in a bit of a slower section, build up that free combo, really push this score lead. The ending, of course, is going to be a little bit trickier. It is a miss from Amasetic. So that score lead should stay pretty stagnant. It is the pretty sizable combo advantage from Enri, but does find the miss now and continues to be a massive accuracy advantage for Amasetic, currently sitting at about 3%. But with that earlier miss, the score lead should be relatively stagnant, and so Amasetic gonna have a little bit of a tougher time building up to that 70k mark to even this match out, but that miss from Enri is going to help out a ton, as now that score lead back up to 70k, and this map is going to be somewhat stamina intensive as we approach the end. Enri finding yet another miss, going to allow Amasetic to further push this score lead. I believe there is one more tricky stream section coming up into the ending. You could see Amasetic gaining a lot more score into the ending, especially if we continue to see chain misses from Enri. That 700 combo is going to be worth so much, and there are the continued misses from Enri. This score lead is ballooning very quickly, but Amasetic does trade the miss back, so that's going to put a stop to the bleeding a little bit as Enri finds some recovery, at least in terms of accuracy. It's all just going to come down to the chain misses. Yes, Amasetic has secured this map, but now the question is, in a format like this, every chain miss, every score drop into the ending could play a difference here. And it looks like it's going to be 140,000 in favor of Amasetic, so overall going to be a 70,000 point lead here after 2 maps. course, we've got DT2 up next. This was an Amasetic pick. So a map that you would generally expect Amasetic to look a little bit better on. As we are going to see early misses coming out from Enri. It's going to be traded back, however, by Amasetic, and this is where the map really starts to pick up. This is where we kind of start to expect to see more misses. There's one coming out from Enri as Amasetic has done a good job of starting to rebuild that combo. This is an incredibly short map as well, already nearly halfway through, and it is just an ever so slight score lead for Amasetic, but you have to keep in mind we have Enri's pick up next, so considering this is Amasetic's picks, you want to see Amasetic build up a little bit of a bigger score advantage than 15k on a map like this, as you generally would expect Enri to be stronger on the next one. But into the slower section, it's still going to remain a 20,000 point difference as both players have done a good job recovering their combo. Accuracy is incredibly even across the board, and it's anyone's game. Here we go into the last Ki. There's only about 18 seconds left. It is kind of easy to find a miss here. Both players looking strong for the time being. We have seen some accuracy drops from Enri, allowing that score lead to increase to about 50,000, and it looked like a miss from Enri right at the end. And so now should be 120,000 points in favor of Amasetic, but this is the problem. Only taking your own pick by 50,000 points. We now have Rigoku Strip coming up. This is a map that suits Enri's style extremely well. We do expect Enri to be able to put up a really, really solid score on this. And so a lot of pressure on Amasetic to try and match or make up that score difference in the HD1 afterwards. Here we go, into the hidden pick. Enri needs 120,000 points at the moment to make things up. Going into the, I suppose, final map. You almost wanted to call it a tiebreaker, but it isn't quite. You don't quite have tiebreakers in this format, although it can feel like it, as we do see early misses and accuracy drops from Amasetic, and this is the problem, right? This is not the kind of map that Amasetic is comfortable on. Enri, he's so incredibly good at low AR, so incredibly good at the hidden reading picks, especially some of these more aim-focused ones, some of these aim control-focused picks, and Amasetic needs to keep this score lead under 120,000 points if possible, but we're already up to 75,000, and we're a minute into a 4-minute map, so there's going to be so much time for Enri to really push this score lead, and I think for Amasetic, it's going to be about recovering, trying to limit the damages as much as possible anyways. Let's see if both players can hit this aim section. Looking good for now, but then you have another aim control focus section pretty much immediately after. It's very easy to miss on. It is going to be Enri now finding the miss. Amasetic has a really good chance to bring this score lead back because it is a slower, I shouldn't say slower, maybe a bit of an easier section. It is a lot more focused on the aim, whereas the aim control sections are going to be the tricky ones. And Enri finds yet another miss, continues to drop the accuracy, so that score lead is going to shrink, and Amasetic now with a really solid shot at keeping this score difference low. Might even have a chance to take over the score lead completely. Now would put Amasetic in a really strong position going into Hard Rock 1, down to 30,000, and Amasetic, 700 combo is massive right now, but still half the map to go. It is anybody's pick. There's a miss from Amasetic. So unfortunately, not going to be taking over the score lead as Enri has recovered nicely, but that's a lot of work done for Amasetic. You don't necessarily need to win the pick. You just need to keep the score gap close enough to be able to win this match on Hard Rock 1. So cutting this down from 80,000 to 40,000, now 50,000 earlier in this map is going to be a very big win for Amasetic. Remember, it was a 120,000 point score lead for this map, so unless Enri wins by 120,000 points, it will be in favor of Amasetic going into the last map. And we're quickly running out of time as there really isn't too much of this map left. Enri finds a miss on pretty much nothing. That's really rough. I mean, got the score lead back up to 70,000, but was really hoping for it to be more than that. And now Amasetic is going to close the gap a little bit, and we'll find out where things lie shortly as Enri continues to find misses here on that jump section. Amasetic looking strong on the flow in, not getting caught out by any of those back and forths. And look at that score lead absolutely shrink so rapidly. Oh, there's a big drop from Amasetic. But it's going to be 50,000 points. Amasetic may have done enough here on Enri's pick. I believe that should be back down to 70,000 points with only one map to be played. And of course, that will be Hard Rock 1, the tech pick. And we've seen Hard Rock Pool be untouched so far in this match. We had Enri fanning out one of the Hard Rock picks, but neither player wanted to pick the other Hard Rock, and so we'll be getting that now. No time to waste. Let's get into our final map. Keep in mind, Amasetic needs to win this one by, Enri needs to win this one by 70,000 points, 71,000 points to be exact. And this is what's so exciting about this format, right? Into the ending, it is going to come down to that final score. Every accuracy drop, every miss matters. You see the accumulation of the misses in all the previous maps, right? And at the end of the day, it is going to be Enri off to the early lead as Amasetic did find a miss at the start of the map. It's not a long one either, so it's going to be very impactful as Amasetic has found yet another miss. And it's 56,000 points. Enri is going to need about another 10,000 points here. In a very good spot to do so. But we still have a whole other Ki section, so Enri should reach that 70,000 mark that is required before the Ki, but needs to perform in the Ki. Hold on to it. Amasetic found another miss in this low section. All of a sudden, this score lead is up to 100,000 points, and Enri is in a very good spot. Just need to hold on for a little bit longer. Every second that Enri holds puts that score lead further and further out of reach for Amasetic. Is starting to recover some combo, but unless Enri finds a miss, it's just not going to matter as we're down to 30 seconds left in the map and 200,000 points now. This might be it for Amasetic. We could still see a big chain miss from Enri to lose some score, but I mean, has not missed on the map. It's certainly not looking likely, and I think now at 250,000 points, this one should be out of reach for Amasetic. And although valiant recovery into the end of the map to put up some good combo, it's not going to be enough. And Enri will be taking this one. A huge congratulations to Enri on a well-played map. A very impressive score as well. Did find a one miss into the ending, but or at the start of the map in the first few notes. But a very, very solid performance regardless, and just goes to show you can be down, but all it takes is one decisive map. And you know, It was 3-2 in favor of map score, but ultimately it just came down to that one big score gap. And so that's going to be it for us. We appreciate you all watching. And we'll be back next week. This was our final match of the weekend. And so once again, congratulations to Enri. Unfortunately, Amasetic will be dropping this one. Ivan iFlame, big thank you to Trask for the stream. And we will see you back next week. Take care.
I watched it fall away. It slipped right through my fingers. I watched it fall.